Hello students, this is Principal Matthew Boucher, and I'm here to discuss our enhanced emergency response protocols, and today specifically discuss our RUN protocol. Once again, we will discuss our RUN protocol today. This is a very serious protocol, and students, I ask for your undivided attention for the next 8 to 10 minutes because it requires to discuss some very uncomfortable scenarios, scenarios that would lead us to flee a lockdown space and take the risk of running and leaving the space because there's a threat in our immediate area. So students, again, I ask for your undivided attention and your sincere attention to this topic as we have this discussion. Students, recently we've walked you through the Run, Hide, Defend protocols and our enhanced emergency response practices. We most recently went through a lockdown drill with you. And students, I want to inform you or remind you, if you were aware of this, that several things happen immediately when we initiate a lockdown. And we can initiate a lockdown through a couple different means here at Spring Lake Park High School and in all Spring Lake Park schools. But once we initiate a lockdown, immediately all external doors are locked. All interior corridor doors, meaning the doors that allow you to travel between the buildings and into the cafeteria, all immediately are released and locked. So that travel into the building and around the building is restricted immediately upon initiating a lockdown. Also, simultaneously, an announcement goes out, and you heard it previously. The announcement comes across the PA, and it also comes out of your teachers' laptops. And a message scrolls across our screen that says we have entered a lockdown situation and that students and staff should secure themselves at this time. And that message is repeated multiple times across the PA and across our teachers' laptops. Additionally, immediately a message is sent to, or law enforcement is notified that we have entered a lockdown at Spring Lake Park High School, and that is automated. I don't have to pick up the phone and make that call. It happens immediately upon us initiating a lockdown. And finally, the key card access points that allow staff to enter the building at certain doors or move between the building, those are all deactivated, and it makes our key cards not work to travel between buildings or enter the building during a lockdown. So that if one of our cards were compromised, someone could not use our cards to gain admittance to the building or any other part of the building. Those things all happen, and you may have been aware or discussed it during our last lockdown experience. So I want to tell you that because it's going to be important as we move into the RUN protocol that you understand that base information. So students, we're going to discuss the enhanced emergency response practices today and some of the decision points that they introduce or the options that are introduced based on the circumstances. But it is critical that you listen to staff during any emergency. They have been trained in our enhanced emergency response protocols, and they are aware of them, and they are prepared to guide you through any circumstance that we may face. I also want to remind you that we have modified or molded our enhanced emergency response protocols from the Department of Homeland Security's Run, Hide, Defend protocol. So our Run, Hide, Defend protocol is woven into our enhanced emergency response practices. And they were designed by the Department of Homeland Security for workplaces and schools. And so we have modified ours based on theirs. And in doing so, we have taken time to train our staff and to ensure that they have an understanding of how to respond in each of these circumstances and what decision points they should be attentive to during any emergency circumstance. And today we're going to discuss the RUN protocol. And the RUN protocol is built on one key piece of data. And that key piece of data, if we are in a lockdown and a threat has entered your immediate area, then RUN becomes a decision point that you and staff will have to make. Again, if a threat has entered your immediate area when we are in a lockdown, then RUN becomes a decision point that you may have to decide. And if we decide that, then we have to have an escape route or plan in mind. We leave our belongings behind. We keep our hands visible. And if we are outside, we stay outside and we move to a safe location. So once again, students, this is all based on we have already entered a lockdown situation. and that those other measures have already been taken, and that parts of the building have been secured. And also, you should be aware that when we do enter a lockdown situation, one of the administrative staff members immediately move to our cameras and begin to monitor our cameras and communicate via PA to you as students and staff to inform what is going on, as well as to law enforcement to inform what is going on within inside our building. And that is how we will be informed and how we make informed decisions during a lockdown situation. So once again, if we are in a lockdown and information is being communicated about the presence of a threat in our building, and that threat is in your immediate area, then run becomes an option or a decision point for you and staff to work with. And when that happens, I'm going to remind you students that staff are in charge, and it is critical that you follow their instructions. If you're outside of the building, you will stay outside of the building, and following staff instruction, you will move to a safe location. In a minute, I will discuss our rally points and reunification sites, which are important in a run decision. If there's an escape route, you want to move through that area safely and quickly. And if you make the decision to run, we will make that decision by any means necessary, which means we will leave through exits or windows or other ways to egress from the building. When we make a decision to run, we always leave our belongings behind. We help others along the way. We prevent harm and warn others as we exit. And then when we are in a safe place, we will contact 911. Specifically, your staff will contact 911 and pass along critical information. So students, here's where the decision points for staff also kick in. Once again, if we're in a lockdown situation and there's a threat in our immediate area, because if the threat is not in our immediate area and that is being communicated to you, then we would always make the choice, or we should make the choice, to stay in lockdown or remain in the hide protocol as we wait for law enforcement to come to our building. And where we are located in Anoka County, we have multiple law enforcement that will converge on our building within 3 to 5 minutes. From multiple police departments will be able to converge on our building within 3 to 5 minutes. So once again, I'm going to back up to the previous slide. If we're in a lockdown situation, that does not automatically mean we would choose run. If we're in a lockdown and there's no threat in our immediate area, we would choose hide, because running could put us in contact with a threat, and we want to avoid that. But if there's a threat in our immediate area, then we may choose or consider the run protocol or the run option. Now, for staff, when that happens, they will communicate to you a rally point. And staff have some predetermined rally points, or they've considered for themselves some rally points. And a rally point is a place outside of the building where they can gather students, collect them, inform them of where they are moving to next, and then move swiftly to that next place, which is our reunification site. And a rally point should be easily understood and easily communicated to you and given prior to leaving the building. So an example might be, a staff member might say, meet me on the other side of the fields, or meet me on the far side of the parking lot. And then they would gather students at that place, and they would move quickly to a reunification site. We have designated reunification sites, and they are agreed upon and communicated with law enforcement. And law enforcement will take charge of the reunification sites. Our staff will get students to our reunification sites, and law enforcement will then take over the process of reunifying students or reuniting students with their families at the reunification site. So staff are very familiar with the concept of rally points and our reunification site. So it is very important that you are listening as staff as they move you through those spaces. So with that, students, I'm going to pause and ask that in class you have a discussion about the following questions. Once again, the run protocol is a very serious protocol. So it's important that you're very thoughtful and considerate during this discussion. And our staff are aware of where our rally point, are aware of the concept of rally points, will inform you of a rally point, and are aware of our reunification sites and will be certain to get you to those locations. So at this point, students, I'm going to pause here. I'm going to ask that you have this discussion. But as always, we take this very seriously, as your safety is our greatest concern. Thank you for your undivided attention.